So I'm going to go through D2 today, acceptance testing. Now, this assignment here should be done by anyone who really wants a distinction star overall next year. You need to get 4 distinctions and 2 merits for next year. Many of the second years this year do the first assignments as distinctions, first 5 assignments as distinctions, and that means they only need a pass for the final assignment. So it's well worth actually doing. So here, what we're doing is we're looking at testing the website that you've actually already built. There is a video here for you to watch on testing and talking about testing. The other thing, before you start, just make sure you publish your website so that anybody on the internet can see it. You can change that after you've done the testing if you want to, but we're going to use some external sites that you'll need to actually have access to the internet to actually do. So to do that, what you need to do is you need to go to your site, make sure in your publish settings, when this eventually comes up, if you go in the plus the little person here, share with others, just make sure that you've got this option here, publish, anyone can find and view. And that's really important that anyone can find and view your published site. So you might need to change it from Queen Elizabeth Sixth Form College to make sure it's anyone can publish and view. Click on save, click on done. You probably need to publish after you've done that. So testing, and you can see there are 6 different sets of testing that we're going to get you to do. Okay, the first one is usability. There's a website which tells you all about usability here. And if you scroll here, usability is all about how easy it is to use your object. Now, so you're going to write what usability is. What I want you to do is I want you to test all the links on your website to check that they work. So what you're going to do is you're going to list all the links on your web page, just cut and paste them. So for example, if I'm looking at this page here, if I view the published site, go home. So here, what you're doing is you're testing each of these links here to check that they work. So there I checked that the home link worked. So I'm simply going to copy this link here and I'm going to paste it into this here. And I'm going to say that as a pass. So you should have all your 8 pages listed down here. If you've got links on any of the other pages, you need to list them down there and put them as a pass if those links actually work. If you've got pages without links on, you just leave that blank. So that's usability, and we're going to test the usability by checking the links on the page. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to check your functionality. So here, what you're going to do is each of your bits of interactive content, what you're going to do is you're going to list your each bits of interactive content. That might be your feedback pages, it might be Twitter feeds, it might be videos that you've got on there, it might be slideshows. You're going to put what page it's on there, and you can see here I've done the feedback page. What you should be able to do is test your feedback page and check that an email is actually sent when you click that feedback. If we're looking at this one here, you want to check that your Google Map is working, and you can go on that. If you've got a Twitter feed, you want to check that your Twitter feed is actually working on there. So that's your functionality there that you're going to test. And I'd expect 3 extra bits of functionality there that you're actually going to test on there. Really, you should test every bit of functionality you've got on there. Minimum 3, please, I'd like you to do. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at readability. So readability is how easy it is to actually, for people to actually read and understand your page. So what you need to do with each of your pages on your website, what you need to do is you need to calculate the readability score. And this particular result here will give you a particular result. In this case here, this particular page, it says it's a grade 5 reading and it should be easily understood by a 10 to 11-year-old. Now, having a high reading age isn't necessarily an advantage because not everybody has good reading ability. So here, if you're more interested in this here, you can click onto some of these here and it gives you more details on how that readability is actually calculated. But what you're going to need to do here is explain what readability is, and you might need to do a bit of research on that. Say that you're going to use this website to test it, and then what you're going to need to do for each page, find out what the grade and the age range is, and then screen print a picture a little bit like that, which just for one page, which shows your readability for that particular page. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at website accessibility. Now, website accessibility is how well your website can be viewed on different devices and also on different bits of software, and whether it's using, because actually one of the problems with websites is if you design it on a big screen, will it look suitable on a small screen here? So it depends on whether people have written good HTML. Now, one of the problems with using a template site that we've used for like Google Sites is you as a designer have very little control over the accessibility, and you're relying on Google to do this. So this is a particular site here which will test the website accessibility. Now, in actual fact, you have to be registered if you want to do more than one page. So we're just going to do one page here, and hopefully this should actually work. And here we go. It's giving me an accessibility report here, and it's saying that my particular web page that I've done here is 74% compliant with good web standards. It will tell you what the problems are for accessibility. So for example, if you don't provide alternative text for images, what it means is if someone's using a screen reader, they won't be able to necessarily look at that page. So here there's things which have been missing, and there might be things which you've missed or Google Sites have actually missed on there, and they're not following standard web practice. And this report just tells you how good your website actually is. Now, you only need to do one page for that one there. Tell me what the compliance is. Get a screen print like that there, and just write it, do a little bit of research. You're testing it by using this particular tool here. Now, your fifth test is acceptance testing. Now, normally what you do is the person who you were making the website for, they would test your particular site. Now, it might be a little bit difficult if you can't get in contact with the person who made your site. By the way, the aim, you can cut and paste this from your design document, because it should say in your design document what the aim is of your particular particular assignment. What you then need to do is you need to get your client, the person you designed your website for, to comment on the things that you have done. Now, you might need to be a little bit creative with this here, and you might need to play the role of your client yourself. If you can get your client to actually evaluate your site, and you could send their site to them and get them to do that, all well and good. If you can't do that, well, it's fine if you play that role of the client yourself and think what the client would say about the things that you've done. And that's acceptance testing. Normally, it's a really important part of a website work to make sure the client is happy with what you've actually done. And as I say, ideally, you want the client to do it. As I say, I do understand you might have difficulty getting in contact with those, in which case you just need to be a little bit creative yourself for that one there. Next part of that is looking at your target audience. So your target audience, this should be number 6 actually, is get 2 people in your household to look at your website. Doesn't matter who they are, okay? But two people who you live with, to fill this in here, just say what they like about the site, what they don't like about the site, and give you a mark out of 10 for what you've done. And then following on that there, what you're going to do is you are going to suggest 3 improvements that you would make to your site based on what these 2 users have said. And as I say, those users can be your mum, your auntie, whoever you live with, brothers, sisters, I don't really mind. And that should cover everything in acceptance testing for your interactive website. Okay, now if this site doesn't work, just have a Google around and see if you can find any other site that does web accessibility. There's lots of tools which will help you with testing that you can use if you want. If you've got any more questions, ask your teacher.